Hello friends, it's me, Gumi Eons, and today we are going to be talking about a somewhat serious topic that pretty much every artist has to deal with when you're posting art online, which is theft. But instead of droning on about how artists' rights get trampled on for shits and giggles, like getting your art reposted with 10 times more engagement than your own post without credit, today we are going to be discussing ways to help identify and protect your art, so this can help you protect your art from being stolen. And with that, let's get into the meat of this video. So first we'll be going over an easy and inexpensive way to protect your art, which is a watermark. Now, you'll see this watermark on all of my art pieces, promotional images from my Etsy, etc. This helps identify that the art is yours and also shows who made it. So it helps you if you're in talks with credit with someone who may have stolen your work, or if somebody wants to know that you made this artwork. Now, a tip with this watermark is to put it over the main object or person you drew on a lower opacity, around 50% or lower than 50%, but of course, since this is your personal preference, you can also go higher and make it just completely full, not transparent at all. When you add a watermark to your work, you need to make sure that it can't be erased, not without a lot of trouble if someone tries to remove it. So see with the example up on the screen. If you put all of your watermark on a black or a blank background, it can be pretty easily erased. The same goes with putting too little of a watermark onto the main focus of your art. You should also try not to make it too small, as people need to be able to see what your watermark says, like your username or your website or whatever you put in there. So for the one I made for myself, I made it pretty simple looking, just my username, a do not repost under it, and some social media logos like Twitter, Instagram and Tumblr, places you will find me under that username. So make it clear, make it big enough to see so it's legible, and of course make it the way you want it, your aesthetic if you will. So since I've talked so much about watermarks and how useful they can be in protecting your art against theft like AI or reposting, how would you go about making one of your own? Well, you've come to the right place. So with any art program you have, in this case mine is Clip Studio Paint, they will have a text feature. Now you can make a simpler one like mine, where you can type out your username in the font you like, then it can be done there, and you can add some social media logos, maybe another note like in mine where it says do not repost, but that does the job nicely. And you can change the font's color, you can add a tiny bit more if you want, but that would be pretty much the most basic way you can do it. I would recommend maybe not doing it with your own handwriting. I find that sometimes if an artist makes their watermark out of their own handwriting, it can be a tiny bit difficult to read, especially if they have a cursive font or whatever. So make sure that the actual font that you're using to spread out your username or your website or whatever you're doing with it, make sure it's clear to people who would be able to read it that aren't just you. Maybe if you want to test it out, you can send it to a few art friends and be like, hey, can you read this? And they can be like, oh yeah I can, or oh no I can't, It's all about making your username or your website or whatever legible. So that's the whole point of a watermark. So if people can't even read it or find you through the watermark, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of it. Now, if you want to go an upper level with your watermark, you want to make it really pretty and really eye-catching, you can use this site called Canva. Now, I'm not sponsored by Canva, and I wouldn't recommend that you buy the premium Canva pack. If you're just making one or two watermarks, you only get a few canvases. So the interface is pretty simple. You can type out your username, choose from their wide array of fonts. Seriously guys, there's just too many. Even without all of the premium fonts, you can still have so many font options. You can then bend your fonts around. You can make it a bit more circular, it kind of looks around like a rainbow shape. You can do a bunch of stuff with it. But for what we're doing here, and we're going around this in a very inexpensive way. Of course you can buy the Canva Premium, but that's not what I'm recommending and that's not what I'm doing today. So when you have your font and your username and all of it rounded out the way you want and everything to look the way you want, you're going to keep it black, the actual font black, and the background white. This will come all for tuition later, don't worry. You are then going to take a screenshot of your watermark in Canva. So then you go into your drawing program of choice. For this example, of course, mine is Clip Studio Paint, and start getting rid of the white background so you can make it a transparent background. So then you can add as much color to the font as you want. You can add as much like stuff as you want. You can really just go nuts with it, and you can basically make your watermark however you want, and it will still protect your art as long as it's legible, of course. Not only does a watermark protect your art, but it also shows who made it. So if a person is looking for you based on your art that they found online, a watermark directs them as to where to go and find and follow you. Now lads, I cannot tell you how many times I have found probably like the most amazing artworks ever in the world, like on places like Pinterest or like other social medias that aren't like that specific person's, like Twitter or Instagram or whatever, like even if it's been reposted. Like how many times I've just found an amazing artwork, but I just can't find the artist behind them because they don't have a watermark, and I just can't find them, and it sucks every time. So if you add a watermark to your art, that would eliminate that from happening, because then people can very easily try and find where you are, and you could get potential new people to follow you then. So I hope you found this video helpful. I personally found when I started using watermarks in my work, theft went down to this day that I barely have to deal with it anymore, which is very nice, because dealing with art theft and stuff like that is just such a tiring and discouraging thing to deal with as an artist, especially if it's happening to you a lot. So I would definitely recommend the watermark method. As a final note, I really wish all artists to, stay steady out there, stay safe, all of that. And if you make a watermark because of this video, I really hope it helps you out. So yeah, since this is the end of my video, all of my links are in the description, like my Instagram and my Twitter and my Tumblr and Ko-fi and Etsy and all that good stuff. So check them out if you're interested with anything that I'm doing or have done. And I hope to see you again. Bye for now.